Okay, I'm going to decorate the cover of the 6x6 album we made in the last video. And on that ring, I have a few templates that I make out of scrap chipboard, different shapes. This one's a flower. There's also a heart and a star. And I'm just going to trace this onto the back of the same scenic route grid paper that I used on the inside of the chipboard covers. So I'm going to cut it out with a pair of scissors, and this is going to be the primary decoration for the front cover. I'm just going to do one element, and that's going to be a layered paper flower, and this is going to be the base of it. And just, going to trim it out and see where that takes us. And please excuse my voice. I have a pretty bad cold or allergies or something kicking around right now. It's giving me plenty of sniffles and a little bit of a scratchy throat, but I wanted to get the video up for you guys, and I needed to do the narration. Okay, so that's going to go there, and I'm going to take the tonic distress tool and just rough up the edges. Just get them nice and ragged. I don't do a lot of distressing in my scrapping, aside from inking the edges of things. If people even consider that distressing now, I don't know. But every once in a while I do rough up the edges of something to give a little bit more texture. And that was taking a while, so I'm going to just speed up the video here and finish that up. And when I'm done distressing the edges, I'm going to crumple it up. That'll give texture. And then I'm going to ink the edges in a black pigment ink. Excuse me, I'm sorry, this is a black dye ink. In a black dye ink from Colorbox. And also I'm going to go over the crumpled part with a pink dye ink. This is Orchid, I think, from Colorbox as well. Now I'm taking this pattern paper scrap that I have, that's these cartoony circles, and I'm going to cut them out and I'm going to layer them in the center of the flower, and that'll just give it a look like petals. So I'm just choosing increasingly smaller circles to use. And just one more, I think. I'll go ahead and put this in the center, and that'll give it a nice kind of fun look. And I'm going to also distress the edges of these circles before I adhere them. And I'm going to speed up the video here so you don't have to watch all of that. Okay, so just continuing with the distressing. And now I need to put the flower together. And I used my ATG to do the layers, but the yellow and green layer didn't stick to the black and pink. The ink was still too wet, so I actually had to go and get some glossy accents to stick it down instead. And the nozzle was clogged, so I'm just going to use my paper piercer to clear it out. I'm just going to glue that part and hold it down, and glossy accent dries paper to paper in about, 15 to 20 seconds. And I'm going to use glossy accents to adhere the flower to the chipboard, and that's going to be because that'll help it maintain some of its crumply shape. if I used an adhesive like the ATG, that might flatten it out a little bit more than I want it to be flattened out. So I'm just holding it down to ensure good contact. And now I've gotten some glitter thickers and some of my favorite making memories, tiny alphabets. My title is going to be I Love to Read All Day, and that's a lot of letters. So I've chosen to make read big and put it in the center of the flower. And then I'm going to use the tiny alphabets to do I love to, and then read in the thickers, and then in the tiny alphabets again all day. And this is a technique that I use pretty frequently in my titles. I'll highlight one word of a title in a larger alphabet sticker, almost always thickers, because those are my favorites. And then I'll do the rest of the title in the tiny letters. I love the look of the tiny letters, and I don't like a gigantic title, especially on something this small like a mini album. Now I'm just going to speed up the camera so that you don't have to watch me put down all these little letters. And at this point, it's getting pretty close to being done. I am going to use some of this ribbon just to do a little bit of decorating on the flower. And I had thought about using the orange ribbon, and then I changed my mind, and I'm going to use this zebra print ribbon, which I think is so cute. And I just tied a knot in the ribbon, and then I'm cutting out the knot so it looks like a little bow, and I'm just going to adhere it with a glue dot. That's a good way to put ribbons or other bulky accents on a page. And I'm just getting it nice and tight, exactly where I want it. And that's it. That's the cover of the album. I'm going to give you a close-up here. Let's see. I love to read all day, and there's our flower and our little zebra print. So in the next video, I'm going to do the opening page of the album. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for part 3.